Okay, so 7th grade, we're here, lesson 9, doing 2 different things. So the first thing we're talking about is comparing. So if you're in math and you're given a couple numbers and your teacher or your math book asks you to compare them, there's 3 possible answers. Does anybody know what I'm talking about, that there's 3 possible answers?
So there's an answer for the left one is bigger,
Yeah.
the right one is bigger,
Yeah.
or they're both equal.
That's true. Okay, so one of the things we can use is an equal sign. How do those other ones look?
The other ones kind of look like a sideways triangle.
Yeah, so we
with
can
no
go like
bottom.
this, we can go like that. That's our 3 options. If you're told to compare, we're going to come back with one of those symbols. Equal if they're the same. We're going to use this symbol if the bigger number's on which side?
The right.
On the right. Does anybody know the official name of that symbol? This is called the blah 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 symbol. 2 words, really. That is the less than. So this one is a less than. For the next couple days, when we do these answers, you guys are probably going to want to just go like this if it's your turn to give an answer. But I'd rather not get to like May and everybody is still just doing this. Let's learn that that's the less than symbol. So the less than symbol faces that way. And then what would that one be?
The more than.
It is. It's usually another word used in more. That's true. It's more often a G word.
Greater than?
Greater than.
No.
It's the same idea. It's, put an H in greater, that's silly. Greater than. So less than goes that away, greater than goes that away. So if I drop you this problem with a 2 and a 4, and I want you to fill in the blank in the middle, which of those signs would you drop in?
The greater than sign?
That one?
Oh wait, no. The less than sign.
That one?
Yeah.
I agree. So we get a less than sign on that one. How did that get explained to you in your past when you saw that?
We would say that it's just like a little Pac-Man eating the other number.
Yeah, most people will describe some kind of a mouth. You know, it's an open mouth, some sort of hungry creature, whether that's an alligator or a Pac-Man or whatever that is. So the hungry mouth wants to eat the bigger number. The open mouth is always going to face the bigger thing. Sometimes you'll be given a problem to do first so you could decide. So if I say 2 times 3 and 2 plus 3, it's going to take you a minute to think that out. 2 times 3 makes 6. 2 plus 3 makes 5. So we're hunting this answer and we go with which of these symbols? We go with the greater than symbol. So that's our first job today. Just talk about comparing. The homework's going to have a little bit of comparison problems. Come back with graders, lessons, or equals. I don't care if you like copy the problem down. If you just have the symbol, that's going to be good enough for me on these. Question about comparing. The second thing we're doing is we're going to talk about a thing called sequences. So a sequence is just an ordered list that follows some kind of a rule. You have to figure out what's the pattern here, and then that helps you predict what's coming up next. So somehow I'm following some kind of pattern. There's some kind of rule in my mind of how I'm doing this. Somebody with a hand, tell me who's next. We'll take like the next 3 and then we'll explain the pattern.
It's 8.
This would be 8 coming up next. Somebody else? 10 would be next. Let's go one more from another person. 12 would be next. There's 2 different ways people could be thinking about this rule, this pattern, and they're both correct. There's probably other ways you could think of it too that might be correct or might be wrong, I don't know. But can somebody explain what is the pattern to this?
Oh, it's plus 2 each time.
One thing people could say is you just add 2 each time. So we're adding 2, adding 2, adding 2, adding 2, adding 2. If you saw that it was adding 2 and that's what rule you think you're going to follow, you would get every answer right. There's another way that people could think of these numbers forming some kind of a rule or a pattern or a sequence. These type of numbers have a name.
Even though
Those are just the even numbers. So if you looked at that and thought, hey, he's just listing even numbers, That's another way we could describe the same pattern or rule. Does it matter that everybody's coming up with the same pattern in their mind? Not really. You just have to find something that's going to consistently work. Different people can think of that one different ways. So if I go to do this one, 1, 3, 5, something, somebody with a hand, who's coming next?
7.
It would be a 7. Up next would be a 9. Let's go one more. Somebody from either end of the room yet? 11. So that's all fine. We could do those literally forever. There would be never an end to that. What's the rule that time?
Only odd numbers?
We could call those odd numbers. You could also, again, look at it a different way and say that how am I jumping from one number to the next?
You're adding 2.
I'm adding 2 again. As an FYI, 0 is an even number. 0 is not a positive number. We'll get into that another day soon. But 0 is part of the even family. 0 is not an odd. 0 is definitely an even. 0 is also definitely not positive, and it's not negative. It's just a club by itself in that game. Question about the first two? Okay, so here I'm doing a different kind of thing. I got 3, then I got 6, then I got 12. Somebody tell me who's up next.
24?
24 is up next. Somebody go next. Is that a hand? Okay. Looked like it. It's close to a hand. I wasn't sure if it was hands or... Somebody, anybody other than you? You already gave us 1. We'll get 2 more people to go 2 more steps. Yeah.
48.
48 is next. Then it's getting a little bit big. You might need pencil paper to do the math. Not everybody's going to do that probably in their mind. To get the next one going. What's the next one about?
60?
No, it's going to be bigger than 60.
$96.
It is 96. And then I think here there's definitely at least 2 ways we could describe to another person what we're seeing in terms of the pattern. It just depends on which one you thought of. Can anybody explain to the group what's happening here as a pattern?
You're adding each number by 2. Or you're multiplying each number by 2.
Yeah, we're multiplying by 2. So this one times 2 made that, times 2 is this, times 2 is that, times 2 is that, times 2 is that. A way you could make the next one would be 96 times 2. That's a way we could describe that as we're multiplying by 2. Was there anybody doing it with adding?
That I was doing like 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 6 is 12, 12 plus 12 is 24, 8, 24 plus 20. Yeah.
We could just add it to itself. So 3 added to itself makes the next one. 6 added to itself, 12 added to itself. You know, we could go 96 added to itself. And that makes sense because we learned when we first talked about multiplying. Multiplying really is just adding. Multiplying and adding. It's the same. It's the same thing. This one, I would guess there's only one way people are going to recognize the pattern on this one. Somebody who's next? Yeah.
It's plus 3.
Okay, plus 3 is the pattern. I wasn't looking for the pattern, but that's okay. Next one up.
13.
13 is true. Up next.
16.
16, go one more.
19.
Agreed. Question about that one. Your book, most of the time, will go with adding numbers consistently or multiplying numbers consistently. That's what most of the sequences will be. Every once in a while, they'll get a little bit tricky, like one of these next couple. I don't think they ever do anything as tricky as this one, but I'm off screen when I point to that one. We'll have to turn the camera in just a second. But for this one's a little bit tricky. Don't say the pattern, try to like say what's next first. So I had a 1, and then a 2, and then a 4. So it feels like it's multiplying 2, but it isn't. Because if it were actually multiplying 2, it would be next.
8.
It'd be an 8, and it's not an 8, so it's not multiplied by 2. So there's something else happening here that we went from 1 to 2 to 4 to 7 to 11, something is happening that's a little bit more tricky than what we did on those first couple. Anybody think they've got the next one in mind?
Is it 22?
It's not, it'll be smaller than 22.
16.
It is 16. See if anybody other than him can give the next one. If we go a long time with no help, I might go back to you again, because this one's a trickier one that won't flow as well. Anybody a shot at next?
Is it, wait, 22 again?
The next one is 22, so maybe, I don't know if you skipped one by accident. 22 is next in line. Can anybody go one more than that? Go back to one of you two guys, and then we'll see if the other guy agrees or disagrees. What do you think?
29.
He thinks 29. What do you think?
Yeah, it's
You think 29. I agree with that. Can anybody other than those two guys explain what in the world is going on that one? Because it's a little bit of a trickier one for sure. Either you want to try to explain the pattern? Go ahead.
So it's you add 1, and then you so basically you add a certain number, and then the next time, so you like with 1, you added 1 plus 1 equals 2. Then you added 2 plus, then 3 plus, then 4 plus. So each time it just goes up by 1.
Yeah. So you add, let's say you add a higher number each time, something like that. So we added 1, added 2, added 3, added 4, added 5, added 6, added 7. Somebody that didn't answer, not you two guys, the next move we'd have to add 8, and then we'd add,
9.
and so on and so forth. They will, once in a while, your book will do something kind of like that. It's a little bit sneakier. Something there. Can one of you two guys turn me a little bit so we can capture this? These two are also trickier ones. I'd say this is maybe a little trickier than that. Maybe it's about the same. That's a toss-up. This one is definitely the trickiest one of the day. But for that one, after our 25, anybody have a suggested next number?
Is it 37?
It's not. It is in the 30s. I'll give you a hint that you can think of an adding, a pattern that's based somehow with adding. There's also a way you can think about your times tables somehow, also as a connection to the,
I'm 35.
that's close. It is, we're in the 30s.
36.
There is a 36 coming. Let's see if we can go one more for somebody other than him. Go another bump. I will commit that we're in the 40s somewhere now. It's just a question of where.
48.
It's close.
49.
It is 49. Don't tell me your strategy, but did you have a strategy, or was your strategy just if it was close to 40? I said close on 48.
My strategy, well,
You have a strategy? Okay. See if we can go one more. There aren't any in the 50s. We're going to be up in the 60s somewhere. Sometimes these are fun, sometimes they're a little frustrating, because you're like, I don't get it. And then it's like, where do you go from there? You just maybe have to skip that one and come to class and get some help on it. Sometimes when they like click, they're like, oh, okay, that was fun. Toss up fun or frustrating. Anybody have anything in the 60s? Go back to you.
64.
It is 64. So then let's go back to you for strategy. What were you doing?
I was counting on my fingers for most of it, and every time it was like kind of like adding two, well not adding two, but like, it's kind of hard to explain.
Okay.
I know what he means.
Can you explain?
So at least what I think what he's trying to say is he's adding to like it's hard to explain,
Yeah.
but like he's going like for the first one, 1 plus 3 is 4, and then 3 plus 2 is 5, 1 plus 5 is 4 plus 5 is 9, then add 2 more to 5, you get 7, 9 plus 7 is 16, and then so on.
Okay. So we
But
added
then, like,
3.
But I don't know like how to add that.
We added 3, then we added 5, then we added 7, added 9, added 11, added 13, added 15. The next time we go, we'd want to add 17. What kind of numbers are we adding each time? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, those are.
It's just the last one except that 2 each time.
That's true.
Adding like odds.
It's adding odds. So we're adding 3, add 5, add 7, add 9, add 11, add 13, add 15. It's time for us to add 17. We just keep adding the next odd number. There's another way we could think of this pattern that involves your times tables. All of these numbers are special in some way in your times table life. Can anybody recognize what's special about all of those numbers from your times table life? Like 81. There's something special about 81 as an answer in your times table.
It's 9 times 9.
That's 9 times 9. What's this one?
That's 9 times 7.
No. Where's 64 come in your times table?
8. 8 times 8.
8 times 8. What's 49 about in those?
It'd be 7 times 7.
7 times 7.
6 times 6. 5 times 5.
Yeah.
4 times 4.
So you can think of it that way. It's another way to think of it. Both ways are right. Okay. So if this one's 9 times 9, who should be next? 10 times 10,
100.
which is 100. We added 19 to do that. Up next would be 11 times 11. Anybody know that one? Go ahead. You know that one? That's close.
121.
It's 121, and most people stop with 12 times 12. Anybody remember 12 times 12 from back in the old days?
132?
It's in 12 times 11 is 132. That's in there. 12 times 12?
Isn't it somewhere around like 160 something?
No, it's less than that. It's a number that has a name in life that you don't hear a lot, but like 12, what's 12 of something called? You go to the grocery store, you buy 12 of it.
Oh, I forgot. 120. Or that word.
It's in that neighborhood.
1 dozen.
A dozen. Dozen means 12. This number is called a gross. If you have a dozen dozens, 12 times 12 is called a gross of something. It's this number that's in the hundreds. We got a lot. 144. 144 is the 12 times 12. Another name for these are called squares. We haven't gotten into like exponents, powers, that kind of stuff, but it's another name for that. We'll get into that another day. But 12 times 12, 11 times 11, 10 times 10. Your times table, you might have called them doubles or something like that. Your times table doubles are also called squares as you get a little bit older. This is the sneakiest pattern. Okay, so somehow I'm building this from scratch. If I start with a pair of 1s, my next number is going to be a 2. Building off of that, for some reason, my next number is a 3. Building off of that, my next number is a 5. Building off of that.
I've seen this 1A.
Anybody have a shot?
Is it 6?
It's not. And that's okay, we're gonna guess wrong. If you just kinda guess, I have no criticism for that if you're brave enough to just say a number.
8.
It is 8. There's a reason why it's 8. Let's see what we can do. You can go again if you wish, because sometimes people get one number right that they actually haven't gotten the pattern.
11.
It is not 11. Anybody willing to take a shot? It's not 12.
Never mind. I forgot.
Say a number, it doesn't hurt us.
13.
It is 13. That might have been strategy, or it might have been a guess, or it might be we ran out of numbers. He tried 11, he tried 12, we struck out, we went 13, we got a hit eventually. Somebody trying to go one more?
15?
It's not, we're gonna be in the 20s somewhere. There's been some reason why I've been jumping from one thing to the next, and the next jump's gonna take me into the 20s.
21?
It is 21.
Okay.
Go ahead, go again, we'll see if you got it.
I gotta do the math.
Okay.
Would it be 34?
It is 34, and I'd say you have it, so I'm gonna cut you off, but you can explain what you're doing first once we get another person or two that can figure it out. Anybody have a guess on what's next? I'll tell you, it's in the 50s. Again, it doesn't have to fast. It is. It's the trickiest one of the day.
55.
It is 55. Can you go one more?
Yeah. It's 89.
It is 89, I agree, you got it figured out. The next one's like over 100, you'd probably need pencil and paper to do it, you probably don't want to do it in your mind, although some people might be able to, but most people better pencil paper. Anybody think you might have a shot at it? No? Any shot at that or no? No? Any chance that, we'll go back to you first, what do you think?
The strategy?
Yeah.
What I was doing was, it's what's behind it plus it. 1
Yeah.
plus 1, 2.
Yeah. So if you add up the two that are showing there, 1 and 1 makes 2. Now you look at the final two,
Then 1 plus 2, 3.
add the final two, you can see,
Plus
that's 3.
5.
Add the final two, you can see, makes
3 plus
5.
5, 8.
5 is
8
8.
plus 8.
Correct.
5 plus 8, 13.
So if we want to build the next one, how would we build the next one?
It'd be 55 plus 89.
55 plus 89 would
And that's
build the next one.
144.
It is 144. If we wanted to build one more, how would we build, somebody other than him, how would we build the next one now that we built that far? What's
It
this?
will be 89 plus 44.
89 plus 144. This also has a name. This is called the Fibonacci sequence. If you care about why or who, you could Google that later. Fibonacci was like an Italian math guy, and he like named that after himself, I believe. So that has a name to it. That's what we're doing. Again, the homework's not going to give you a Fibonacci sequence. Okay? The homework is going to stick mainly to always add the same number, always multiply the same number. Sometimes they get into something a little bit tricky, like we did with the squares, or the part where we were adding a little bit different number each time. We'll just take that as it comes. If you get a sequence and you stare at it for like a minute or two and it's not like coming to you, just skip it, go to the next problem, it's fine. You don't want to sit there for like an hour looking at the sequence going, I gotta figure it out. Because sometimes it just clicks and sometimes it doesn't. So homework off of this, we're gonna work page 20. There's an A to F. What you'll need to do on the A to F is just write a greater, a less, or an equal sign. And then there's the normal 1 to 25 that's like a little bit of a mix of everything that we've seen. You can hit